Hi, Dr. Jim Ewing here. Welcome to Teaching Math to English Language Learners or Multilingual Learners. This is the fourth in a series of 5 videos. If you remember the acronym PATHS, it will help you meet the needs of our multilingual learners. The first video, if you haven't had a chance to see it, I suggest you go back and watch it. The first video, the P in PATHS stands for positioning, how important it is for us to position our multilingual learners in math. The A stands for access, how we can provide our students with access. The T stands for teach, as in teach language, teach math language, English, and also our multilingual learners' first language or languages. This fourth video is about John Hattie, a researcher from Australia. Originally, I was going to say we need to use research-based strategies, but if I used an R, then we wouldn't have that nice acronym. We've got the H in PATHS, and the R wouldn't work. And so the point here is we need to use research-based strategies, and we can use John Hattie's research because he's done a lot of work with effective practices. For example, what he does is he takes huge sample sizes and looks at teaching all over the world, and he might compare two. Just to simplify this, he might compare 2 4th grade classes. In one 4th grade class, they give homework, and in the other 4th grade class, they don't. And then after a pre-test, post-test, he analyzes how effective it is to give homework or not. And you know what? There is the research, according to Hattie, says there is some benefit for giving a homework, especially in high school, but not much in elementary school. And yet we carry on using this practice. What he did say was there's a lot of other things that are more important. One is teacher clarity. For teacher clarity, as the name implies, our teachers need to know exactly what it is that they want the students to learn. And so my question here is, how can we apply that to teaching multilingual learners, in this case math? And so what we can do is make sure we as teachers know that our multilingual learners know what they need to do in order to be successful. And so what does that look like? Well, one practice that's very common working with multilingual learners is we meet before we pre-teach, and we meet with multilingual learners before our math lessons. So when we're doing that, we need to be really clear about what our goal is for our multilingual learners and share that goal with them. And so not only is it pre-teaching vocabulary, but we can pre-teach our goals, if you will, and make sure our students know what they need to do in order to be successful. And that's just one example of taking John Hattie's work, our researcher, and let's use research-based practices. Let's talk now about what Hattie says is one of the most effective practices, and that is teachers coming together. And he calls it collective teacher efficacy, or CTE. We have to have an acronym here in education, just full of acronyms. And so yes, it's called collective teacher efficacy. In other words, teachers coming together and believing that their actions actually makes a difference on students' performance. And so how can we do that? How can we come together and say that our actions as teachers is going to affect our multilingual learners in all subjects, including math? We're going to go back to the first video. How about just calling our students multilingual learners? And so if we collectively do that, all our teachers collectively are going to make that decision to make a difference in our students' learning by calling them something that is asset-based. And so when teachers just give up and say, well, I'm going to use the term English language learners because that's the way we've been doing it for a long time, well, that doesn't show that their action. That's not what Hattie's talking about, because Hattie's saying, well, we're going to collectively make a decision to change. And when we do that, our students' results will go up. And so there's more things we can do, and throughout these videos we talk about effective practices for multilingual learners. But I think the first step is to realize when all the teachers come together and position our students by calling them multilingual learners, then that's a huge, big step. In summary, today we've talked about two of Hattie's practices. The first one is teacher clarity, just being really clear about how we can make sure that our multilingual learners are successful in math and make sure they know what they need to do to be successful. The second is Hattie's practice called collective teacher efficacy. And that the acronym is CTE for that. And the point there is let's come together and collectively decide how we can meet the needs of our multilingual learners. Kind of like we're doing right now in this video. Let's come together and see if we can be effective for our multilingual learners in math. Thank you so much. And just one more comment about that is, yes, Hattie is an example of using research-based strategies, but let's not just carry on calling our students English language learners, because that's what we've done in the past. Let's use research-based strategies to improve our results. Thank you so much, and stay tuned for our fifth video in the series called Productive Struggle. Yes, struggle can be a good thing. Hasta luego.